Title: The Admiral's Watch. Chapter 1: The River Retreat. After more than 3 decades of serving in the U.S. Navy, most of it spent commanding warships and leading operations across the globe, Rear Admiral Nathaniel "Nate" Merrick had only one plan: peace. He retired to a calm bend along the Miami River, a peaceful enclave tucked away from the bustling chaos of the city. There, he transformed an old steel-hulled patrol boat into a floating home, adorned with naval flags, a deep blue hull, and a ship's bell salvaged from his final command. To Nate, the boat wasn't just a home, it was a sanctuary. It was a living testament to his service, a tribute to those he had led and lost, and a symbol of the country he had dedicated his life to defending. For 5 years, the river offered him what he craved most: tranquility. Chapter 2: Enter the HOA Tyrant. That tranquility shattered when a woman named Barbara Langford moved in. President of the newly established Riverstone Bluffs HOA, Barbara represented everything Nate disliked about suburban politics. Her pristine development, with its artificial lakes, pastel homes, and identically trimmed hedges, expanded close enough to Nate's riverbend that she began eyeing his riverboat with disdain. Officially, the HOA had no jurisdiction over Nate's home. He was moored just outside the technical boundaries. But Barbara wasn't one to be deterred by details. She branded the vessel an eyesore and a safety hazard. The real issue? Nate flew a massive American flag that dwarfed the one on her lawn. It began with letters: "Your property does not conform to the visual standards of the Riverstone Bluffs aesthetic. We recommend removal of military insignias." Nate ignored them. Barbara escalated. Noise complaints, zoning violation reports, even accusations of environmental disruption. Then one morning, Barbara stood on Nate's gangway flanked by 2 private security guards. Clipboard in hand, she declared, "You are hereby ordered to vacate this vessel within 30 days. Nate, in his weathered admiral's cap, folded arms, and cool demeanor, replied, "Not going to happen, ma'am." Chapter 3: Assembling the Crew. Barbara wasn't just persistent, she was a tyrant. And Nate recognized tyranny in all forms. He made one call: "Tom, it's time." Chief Petty Officer Thomas "Tommy" Briggs didn't need clarification. "I'm rallying the crew," he said. Within 24 hours, a dozen veterans flew in. Engineers, pilots, sonar techs, even a fire control officer. Old crewmates who would follow Nate anywhere. Next came Bobby "Bones" Moretti, a former Navy SEAL turned salvage expert. "Still got access to the old cruiser we were restoring?" Nate asked. "Sure do." "Why?" "Barbara." "Say no more." Chapter 4: Legal Warfare. Before launching a counteroffensive, Nate needed legal cover. Liz Callahan, a retired JAG officer, dug into Barbara's HOA records. They found gold, unpermitted extensions, an illegal dock, seawalls that violated state laws. They filed a rare motion, a private maritime reclamation event. Under Florida law, theatrical protests reclaiming state water infringements, if nonviolent and symbolic, were legal. Nate rented the restored warship, the USS Providence, a decommissioned cruiser now operating as a naval reenactment vessel. It had functioning sirens, blank-firing cannons, and most importantly, a presence that would shake the river. Chapter 5: The Show of Force. At 0800 sharp, the USS Providence appeared at the bend. Sunlight hit its steel like a call to arms. Boom. The first blank round thundered across the water. Barbara, wrapped in her bathrobe, ran onto her dock. Her small dog yelped and disappeared indoors. A second blast. Then a third. Nate, megaphone in hand, declared, "This is a lawful maritime reclamation. Your illegal structure violates Florida Statute 253.04. Vacate the waterway." Coast Guard officers, pre-briefed, watched from a nearby patrol boat, sipping coffee. Barbara screamed something incoherent. The response? A deafening war siren looped with clips of her own HOA tirades. "You will obey the HOA." The neighborhood watched in awe. Chapter 6: Courtroom Clash. Humiliated, Barbara sued Nate the very next day. Charges included emotional distress, unlawful intimidation, and misuse of military symbols. Nate's crew was ready. Liz filed counterclaims: harassment, abuse of power, defamation. Permits were airtight. The Department of Veterans Affairs had issued warnings against infringing on a veteran's federally protected residence. In court, the judge wasn't impressed. "You're accusing a decorated naval officer of intimidation, using a permitted reenactment vessel?" Barbara stammered. "He fired cannons at my house." "Blanks. During a legal event you were notified of." Case dismissed. Then Liz stood. We're filing for damages. Barbara crumbled. The case was over. Nate tipped his cap as the gallery broke into quiet applause. Chapter 7. Victory Parade. Barbara vanished for days. Nate knew better than to relax. He called Silva, the logistics wizard. We're going public. Within 3 days, the riverfront transformed into a Veterans Day celebration. The USS Providence became the centerpiece. Local news, national outlets, even influencers flocked in. Veterans lined the docks. Nate, the guest of honor, gave a speech facing Barbara's house. This river is free. This home is mine. And this neighborhood belongs to the people, not to tyrants with clipboards. A massive American flag unfurled from the stern, casting a shadow across Barbara's dock. It was legal, tax-deductible, and backed by City Hall. Chapter 8. The Last Stand. But Barbara wasn't done. Late one night, she hired a tugboat crew to disconnect Nate's moorings. Her plan: let the riverboat drift and cause damage, forcing a violation. She didn't count on Nate's security system. Within minutes, 2 police boats and a Coast Guard unit arrived. Drone footage captured it all. Barbara was arrested for trespassing, conspiracy to commit property damage, and attempted grand theft. Nate sued and won. Her home was seized and sold. Chapter 9. The Admiral's Legacy. Who bought Barbara's house? Nate. Through a veteran support trust, he turned it into a resource center, job training, BBQs, grief counseling, and a towering flagpole that dwarfed the last. A plaque by the gate read, "This land was once ruled by fear. Now it stands for service." Barbara left town in disgrace. No farewell. Just silence. Chapter 10. Peace reclaimed. Months passed. The memes faded, but the flag still flew. Nate's riverboat remained, a beacon. Tourists called it the Admiral's Watch. Each week, veterans dropped by to thank the man who stood his ground. Exactly 1 year later, Nate raised a new flag with his crew. Think she'll try again? Briggs asked. Nate smiled. Doubt it. But if she does? He pointed to the USS Providence, now permanently docked nearby. We've got range. The bell rang once. And with it, the final word. Peace. Earned. Epilogue. A watch worth keeping. Years later, the Admiral's Watch would become a permanent landmark. School children took field trips there. Veterans gathered every Memorial Day and 4th of July. Families who once feared their HOA found courage through the legacy of Nate Merrick. He never sought fame. He never courted conflict. But when it came knocking, he stood tall. Not for revenge, but for principle. Not to win, but to remind everyone that freedom is not just defended overseas, it's protected at home. And in the quiet ripple of the Miami River, that legacy lives on.